Welcome everyone to the Lavesh Pillay Show. I'm your host Lavesh Pillay, and if you're a Formula One fan who loves a good dive into driver changes, team drama, and all the latest breaking news, you're in the right place. Today we're talking about some huge developments for the 2025 season, including exciting new drivers joining the grid, and yes, the possible return of Formula One to South Africa, and a massive power unit change for one of the teams. We'll be diving into the latest with Kimi Antonelli, Gabriel Bortoleto, Oliver Bearman, and Jack Doohan, the fresh faces set to make their mark this season. But before we get into all that, let's talk about the prospect of F1 returning to African soil, potentially in 2027, and a major change coming to Alpine's engine setup in 2026. Alright, here's some not so breaking news that's got everyone talking. South Africa could be set to host a Formula One race in 2027. Right now, Formula One spans 5 continents, with Africa and Antarctica being the only two that don't see any action. But we're hearing that South Africa, and more specifically the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit, could soon change that. Kyalami is reportedly in advanced talks with Apex Circuit Design, the masterminds behind projects like the Miami GP track and the recent Singapore GP upgrades, which added some serious flair to an already iconic street circuit. Apex is set to help bring Kyalami up to the highest safety standards required by F1 and reach Grade 1 status. And if all goes as planned, we could see the return of Formula One to Africa for the first time in over 30 years. And what a return it would be. Imagine F1 cars speeding through Kyalami, with an incredible South African landscape in the backdrop. Africa has such a rich motorsport heritage, and for South African fans, it would mean finally having a Grand Prix close to home. I'm telling you, if this happens, it'll be one for the history books. Alright, let's shift gears to some major team news for 2026. Alpine is set to make a huge change. They'll be switching to Mercedes power units. Now, this is a significant shakeup for Alpine, who's been running their own Renault engines for years. This shift to Mercedes power could bring a serious advantage in reliability and overall performance, and it's a big statement about Alpine's ambitions to compete higher up the grid. The Mercedes engine has been known for its power, efficiency, and reliability. Pairing that with Alpine's already strong chassis design could bring Alpine into a whole new level of competitiveness. Imagine the consistency and performance gains that Alpine might experience with a powerhouse engine like that behind them. And for a driver like Jack Doohan, who's joining the team in 2025, this is fantastic news. He'll have 1 year to get used to the team and car setup, and by 2026, he'll be racing with one of the most powerful engines on the grid. This could be Alpine's ticket to finally breaking into the top tier alongside Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes. Now, speaking of big changes, let's switch gears to the new drivers joining the 2025 grid. We've got 4 incredibly talented rookies stepping up to take on the big leagues. Kimi Antonelli with Mercedes, Gabriel Bortoleto with Sauber, Oliver Bearman at Haas, and Jack Doohan at Alpine. Each of these young guns has shown their skill and promise in their junior categories, and their team sees serious potential. Let's break down why these drivers were chosen and what they're bringing to the table. Kimi Antonelli. This kid is a phenomenon. Mercedes snapping him up was practically inevitable, and yeah, we did speak about this in an episode, so we know it was quite definite for it to happen. Now, Kimi is not just a young driver with potential, he's practically a Lewis Hamilton in training. Big statement, yes, but extremely possible. He's got an insane level of precision and control, but he's also shown he knows how to take calculated risks on track. That kind of confidence, mixed with discipline, is exactly why Toto Wolff and Mercedes wanted him. Now, let's remember, folks, Mercedes isn't just looking for a new driver who can bring home points. They're grooming a future star, someone to carry the legacy after Hamilton and Russell. Antonelli's performance in the junior categories has been so dominant that he's practically given Mercedes no choice but to bring him up. expect Antonelli to bring a serious fight every single weekend. Then there's Gabriel Bortoleto over at the newly rebranded Sauber team. Here's a driver who's mastered the art of the hustle. The gritty, relentless style that has set him apart in F2. Bortoleto is a pure racer at heart, and he's got this unmatched ability to find those overtaking opportunities that most drivers wouldn't even see. Sauber saw that and probably thought, yes, this is the kind of fighter we need as we rebuild. The Sauber team has been on a journey, trying to reclaim a place among the midfield warriors. They don't just need speed, they need a driver with spirit, someone who can adapt and grind through those tough midfield battles. Bortoleto is that driver. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him shaking things up right out of the gate. Hey, while we're on the subject of rookies, make sure you're in the loop for every high-speed update, dramatic overtake, and rookie revelation this season. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and share this episode with your F1 crew. The grid's filling up with fresh talent, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of it. Moving on to Haas, we've got Oliver Bearman joining the grid, and I mean, this was a move almost everyone saw coming, right? Haas has been getting into the habit of taking young talent and giving them a shot to prove themselves. Bearman is all about raw explosive talent. He's a powerhouse. Known for his aggression, Bearman is fearless in battle, and that's something Haas has been craving. Bearman showed that he could handle the pressure in F2, and his ability to push beyond the limits has been a trademark. It's something Haas admires and desperately needs as they fight for better results. So keep an eye on him. He's going to be thrilling to watch in those fights, and he's not afraid to put it all on the line for a chance to make a name for himself. And finally, let's talk about Jack Doohan, the latest addition to Alpine. Now, Alpine needs more than just a quick driver. They need a leader, someone who's capable of driving the team forward. Doohan, with his background, has his meticulous approach, and his resilience fits that bill perfectly. Alpine has been ambitious about their future, and I think they see Doohan as a huge part of that plan. Doohan's racing style is controlled, analytical, very mature. He's not all fire and flash. He's more of a strategist, which could really help Alpine take those incremental steps up the grid. He's also a driver who's known to dig deep and push through when the going gets tough, which is exactly the kind of attitude you want in a team that's fighting its way back into the big leagues. I think Doohan's going to surprise people this season, but in the best way. Now, with the rookies like these, you know the season is going to be electric. And hey, if you don't want to miss a single update on how these new drivers shake up the grid, keep it tuned to the Lavesh Pillay Show. This is Lavesh signing off. Catch you next week, and as always, keep those engines revving high.